Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you'll grab a coffee and sit down and spend some time with me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back to spend some time with me today. I'm going to be doing, I guess I better introduce myself to those of you who don't know who I am yet. My name's Sheryl Schmidt. I'm from Sheryl Schmidt Artistry. What I'm going to be doing today is taking part in a prompt, a challenge group that I belong to. The group name is Mixed Media. The Mixed Media Emporium Facebook group is the group that I belong to. Sorry about that. I drew a blank for a second. I'm going to take part in their prompt for their last prompt for May. They did a all month long. It was called the mini month of May, and they were mini challenges or small size challenges. And this last one for the month of May is make any mini project you want. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a little mini book. This has been kicking around in my stash for a long time. It's really quite quick to put together. It's fun. It only uses one sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock for the base of the book. And I thought I'd maybe show you how I'm going to make that today. Remember to give this video a thumbs up. Click the subscribe and the bell icon down below so that you never miss it when I'm going to be uploading a new video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score my paper at, well, this paper is just shy of 12 inches. Oh, just a moment. Let me just grab another piece of paper. Here, let's try this. Not all cardstocks are created equal. So this one here is definitely a full 12 by 12. Yeah. So I'm going to score that at 3 inches. I'm going to score it at 6 inches. I'm going to score it at 9 inches. And then I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to score it again at 3 inches, at 6 inches, and at 9 inches. So I've got that all scored in there. Oh, my lighting's a little dark in here today. Sorry. Not sure what that's all about. Let's see if I can just bring a little bit more light into us. So once you've got your book scored, or got your paper scored, you're going to want to cut it. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3 squares up. Oh man, just a second. I'm going to go and see if I can do something about the lighting. I will be right back. There we go, I'm back. The lighting looks much better. Sorry about that. So like I was saying, you're going to count 1, 2, 3 squares up, and where that crosses, I'll move you in a little bit more here so you can see maybe a little bit better what I'm doing. I want to cut that paper from where those lines meet up down to the bottom. Now some people like to fold their paper before they cut it. Oh, apparently I need a new blade in my knife. There we go. And I'm going to do the same on this far score line. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 squares up, cut in that score line, So what you have now is something that looks like a big fat letter M. I'm going to turn that around, and now I'm going to count up that middle score line. 1, 2, 3, where it meets that top mark. And cut through there. And now you should have something that resembles a W. All right, now I want to fold on my score lines. Make sure I crease that as I go. And basically, what I'm doing now is making an accordion fold of my book. You want to make sure things are lining up nicely, making sure everything's folding and staying good. Some of my score lines aren't as deep as they should be, but that's okay. There we go. Now you want to try and make sure it's folded as neatly as you can. It'll make your spine much nicer, but it's quite a forgiving project at the same time. If it's not 100%, it's not really that big of a deal. Almost done. All right. So that is the basis of your book. So you'll have, basically what you're going to have is you're going to have this zigzag pattern, except for your middle part where it's going to be this folded piece up top. So now what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to figure out where I want to put my pockets, which pages I'm going to just glue together, which ones I'm going to turn into pockets. Now you can put as many pockets as you want in this book. That's one of the other great things about this little book. So if I'm going to make this my front cover, this would be my cover, but I've got this fold here right away. If I turn it over, same thing. I've got my front cover, but then I've got this fold right away. So do I want my pockets to be at the top, or do I want my pockets to be at the front? I'm thinking I wouldn't mind my pockets being at the front. So what I'm going to do is, actually maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to make top pockets and front pockets. No. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a paper clip on the pages that I plan on turning into a pocket. So because this is going to be a pocket, I'm going to paper clip that one. This will be a pocket, so I'm going to put a paper clip on that one. And this will be a pocket, so I'm going to paper clip this one. So that means I'm going to leave this unglued, but I'm going to glue these together here. I'm going to use my Beacon 3-in-1. All right. I know it's kind of boring watching everybody glue, but it's not going to take me that long to do that. So that's glued together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my paper clips, and I'm going to put 2 of them going up and down, and that tells me that that's been glued together. There's my pocket. So now I need to glue these 2 pieces together. Just like that. So then that means paper clips going up and down, telling me that I've glued that piece together. This will be the next piece I glue together. Hope that's making sense to you. This is a fun little project to use up lots of scrap paper, try different techniques on. It can be used as a real cute little mini junk journal. It can be used as a mini scrapbook album. So this page is going to have paper clips on it. The paper clips are doing two jobs for me. 1, it's holding the paper together while the glue sets up, and 2, it's telling me I don't need to, that's been glued. That's not going to be a pocket page. 1 more page here to glue, and then that is all done. As you can see, I'm not being shy with my glue. All right, so that gets glued together like that. Perfect. Now, on these pages that we're going to turn into pockets, they're still open. So they need to be glued together down the back side and the front. And so I'm going to just use some double stick adhesive for that. I don't necessarily want to use glue for that, mainly because no matter how carefully you place that glue, there's always the chance that it's gonna smoosh out or spread farther than you want, and you're gonna lose some of that pocket space. So I'm just using my Suk Wang tape. More work to take the little cover off than it is to put the tape on. There we go. These little books would make great little teacher gifts. I know the end of the school year is coming up. Some of you have been learning at home all year. Our kids were very fortunate. They were able to attend in person all year. We never had our schools closed down this year, so it was nice. While the year was a hard year, it was still nice to have that little bit of normalcy in that they were able to attend and see friends every day, see teachers every day. All right. I think this week I'm actually going to finally get around to putting my garden in. The weather's supposed to be quite nice. So in the next day or two I'm gonna go do that. Looking forward to having some garden vegetables here before long. All right, last pocket to glue together. Sorry, I've probably been off camera this whole time. You know, sometimes you get busy working and you forget to check to see if everybody can see what you're doing. And there we go. Come on. This is a great little use your stash up project again. All right, and that glue should be dry enough that we can take all the rest of the paper clips off. There we go, and there is the basis for our little book. So we've got our inside cover, first page, first pocket, next page, next pocket, next page, next pocket, next page, and your back cover. All right. So now comes the decorating part. One of the things I'm going to do first is go through and I'm going to age all my edges, because that's the kind of girl I am. I like to have everything distressed. I'm going to age it in my coffee archival ink again. Those of you that are new to distress or aren't sure how to distress something, I've got just a brush that I load up with ink, and then I come in and I just rub on those edges just to give them some age. I like having everything look kind of old and distressy. Now again, I'm not going to expect you to sit here and spend a whole bunch of time watching me do every single page. I just want to do a couple pages to see how nonchalant I am about it. Don't overthink it. Just get the ink on there however you can. Think about what you have in your stash that you can use to cover your book with. What kind of embellishments you might want to put on it, what you might want to do with your book. All right, so you get the idea. That's how I age the edges of my paper. The reason why I use the archival ink to do this is that it's water, it dries and it won't react with water. So once it's dry, it's good to go. I don't need to worry about it anymore. Whereas using a distress ink, adhesive can reactivate your ink, or water can activate your ink, and then it gets onto your papers in a way that you may not like. So I'm going to go and I'm going to finish distressing my edges, and I'm going to cut my papers. I dug in my stash and I found this really old pack of 7 Gypsies paper. I really like it. It's fun, it's vintage, it's distress. So I'm going to go and I'm going to cut all my papers that I need for my book, and I will be back to show you how I put my papers in and how I embellish my book. All right, I'm back. I've got everything cut for the book. So now I'm just going to go in and glue it. I went through and placed my papers where I wanted them, the direction that I wanted them. So just going to double check that now. Now that I've said I've placed everything, I better double check, because you know, if you don't, you're going to start gluing stuff in and all of a sudden wish that it was a different direction. All right. So what I did is I cut my papers. The book is each page is 3 inches by 3 inches. So I cut each paper that's going to go inside my book down to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 because I want to leave a little border all the way around. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I'm just going to use my Beacon 3-in-1. Again, not being overly shy with the glue. I don't want stuff to move. And I'm not even going to worry about making sure it's overly centered. Oh, and I did glue that upside down. Not even going to worry too much about making sure that it's super centered. This is what I call a close enough book. As long as it's close enough, that's all that matters. I think that's one of the reasons why I like the mixed media and the grunge, is that it allows for me to be more loose in how I design and how I place material onto my projects. Okay, I think I'm going to switch these around and I'm going to go like that. Now gluing is going to be pretty boring, so I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me glue. Sorry about that, that was my phone, I forgot to put it on silent. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me glue 16 pieces of paper into my book. I'll be back when that's all done and I'll show you how I'm putting my cover on and how I'm going to decorate the book. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Howdy, howdy, I'm back. I stopped last night for supper and never made it back out to the studio to finish recording. So this is, you know, been no gap for you, but I took the night off. So I got everything glued in. I took some of my scraps that were left over and added those into my book as well. So I've got all my pages glued in. And now what I want to do is I want to put a cover on my book. So remember, we've got our book at 3 inches by 3 inches, right? So it's 3 inches this way, and it's 3 inches this way. So we've got a 3 by 3 inch book. So my cover, I cut at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So it's just ever so slightly bigger. I've taken and covered my front cover and my back cover in paper already. So my book, when it's glued in, will be just ever oh, sorry, forgot to put my phone on silent. I will do that now quick. So it'll be ever so slightly inside, except for the back where the spine is. I've got that lined up. That's going to be lined right up with the back cover. So, like normal, we'll start by covering this in adhesive. Okay, so I've got that covered in adhesive. Want to make sure that's going on the right way. It is. I'm going to push that down so that it's lined up nice with the spine. So I've got the spine, it's nice and level with that piece of chipboard that I used for my cover. And I've got it more or less centered. That looks good. That opens. Just straighten that out a little bit more. Perfect. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with the back cover now. So I hope you had a good night last night. Looking at our weather forecast here in near Saskatoon, and it looks like it's gonna continue to be hot for the rest of the week. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to that. All right, and that's on, and that's relatively centered as well. So that is the bones of the book. Now I want to put a spine on it because I want to hide that. So I've just taken a piece of paper, or a piece of cardstock, and I've got this cut. It's about 2 1/4 and it's 3 1/4, so will fit on the side of the book quite nicely. I'm just going to take and ink that up. All right, so I'm going to just put some glue down this side. I'm not putting it right down the middle. I don't want to glue this right onto the spine of the book. I just want it glued onto the front and back covers of my book. All right, I'm gonna just line that up, curve that around. I'm just gonna finger crease it, front and back. I didn't want to score the spine. Sometimes when I'm doing a little book like this, I might come in and actually put score lines on there so that it has a little bit nicer shape, but I wanted this left fairly organic. And one of the things I like about the beacon glue is that if it happens to split out a little bit, you can just use your finger and rub it off, and that glue just rubs, any glue that squishes out just rubs right off. Just like that. And that is essentially our book done. Now, we had these tags that we had done earlier, and I'm just going to round off the corners. So my tags I cut at 3 inches, or just shy of 3 inches, by just shy of 2.5 inches for the tags, and that just slides in. I'm rounding the corners off just to keep them from getting tattered. There we go. And then I've got a little stamp here that I'm going to use yet to stamp on my tags and turn them into little journal tags. I've got again, another old Stampin' Up! Stamp. It's got notebook lines like from primary school. I remember when my kids were little, I had to always get books for them that had the solid and dotted lines when they were learning how to print. So I'm going to ink that up really good. And then I just put a foam mat underneath to try and get a little bit crisper image. Line that up as best I can, try and get a nice crisp image. There we go. And that'll go into each of the pockets. Let's stamp this one. So now you might be asking yourself, well, what do I do with this book? Well, you can take and just journal in it and use it as a little mini journal. You can add all sorts of extra embellishments to it and turn it into more of a junk journal, put extra pockets in and all sorts of fun stuff like that. I actually am going to turn it into a mini scrapbook album. I've got 4 kids. My oldest daughter is married and lives in Manitoba in Canada here. She lives near Winnipeg. And my oldest boy graduated from high school last year. And I've got 2 more teenagers that still live at home. But my oldest boy, graduated last year, and so I printed out a bunch of his grad photos. I'll just open that up. So I'm just giving that piece of chipboard, or that piece of cardstock, some memory there on the spine. Teaching it how to fold and where I want it to fold. So like I was saying, I had taken and I printed out some of his grad photos. We did real casual grad photos last year. A great, very nice lady from our community who's a photographer. I'll link her photography page down below. Her photography site is Family Photography, and I'll link that down below. And so for those of you that are local and need a good photographer, she's the bomb diggity. And so, like I was saying, I printed out some of his grad pictures. I like to just make a collage of them, and that way I don't waste photo paper, and I'm able to get numerous photos done in a nice small size. So I'm just going to go through and tuck a few of these in. This book has 16 pages that you're able to journal on, work on. Alright, so some of these will be back-to-back pages. Now, some of you may not like the rawness of your chipboard showing, and you can do 2 things there. You can cut an inside page that would be bigger and cover that whole area, or you can simply do like I'm going to do and just pull my ink in. And I am going to just ink that up, distress that up a little bit more, blend it in. Honestly, this is, like I said, this is one of those projects you really don't need to overthink it. And so I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. I'll just move those pictures out of the way. So ink that up, pull that in, blend it out, camouflage it. And anytime I'm working with pictures, I don't like to use I don't like to use liquid adhesive on photo paper, just because you never know when that photo paper may react to your adhesive. And with that Beacon 3-in-1 adhesive that I like to use, it is a acetone. It's an acetone based adhesive, and so you do run the risk of it melting your pictures. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna glue tape all my pictures in. I'm gonna use my Suk Wang tape. I'm gonna tape my pictures in, and then I will be back to show you the finished book. All right, I'm back. I've got my book finished. I had to wait for my battery to recharge. It went dead on me, so while I was waiting, I did some extras in my book. So, as you can see on my front cover, I put this really fun little barbed wire on. It's a die cut. Looks like that when it's all in one piece. I cut it out of a metallic kind of gunmetal gray cardstock. And I took and put some metal corners on the front cover as well. I've got all my pictures adhered in, and I took one of Tim Holtz's Ideology, the big chat, and I went through and pulled out words that definitely describe my oldest boy. He was diagnosed with type 1 juvenile diabetes when he was 8 years old. He's now 19, and let me tell you, he has done remarkably well with his diabetes and with the challenges that come with being a diabetic, and figuring out where he wants to go in life. It was kind of rough graduating in 2020, right in the middle of the COVID pandemic. He missed out on so much. These poor kids who've graduated over the last year or two have missed out on grad, have missed out on those final days of high school with their friends. But they're a resilient bunch of kids, and they will continue to amaze and surprise each of us. Now, of course, you can see my book doesn't want to stay closed. It got a little bit fat with all the words in there. So I took and made a belly band for my book as well. I took some more of that gunmetal gray cardstock, put a little piece of Velcro in there, put a little steampunk geared heart on it to make my closure. So I hope you really enjoyed spending time with me creating this little book, and that you'll give it a whirl for yourself. There's so many possibilities with this kind of a project. Like I said, you can turn it into a junk journal. You can turn it into a little scrapbook. You can just turn it into a little book to write little thoughts on. Sky's the limit. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I reply to all my comments. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe and bell icon down below, and that way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And don't forget, in this particular video, I took part in the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook groups prompt. I'm going to link Nina Rabina and Kylie Q's videos down below. They're the ones who put out these prompts. Please make sure to visit their channels. Please make sure to visit the Facebook page. And this month of May was the mini month of May, and this last prompt, which went live on Sunday, on the 30th of May, yeah, the 30th was Sunday, was any mini project, and that's what I created. So please make sure to give them some love and attention. And the photos of my son were taken by Leanne of Family Life Photography Canada. She's based near Saskatoon. Saskatchewan, Canada. Please make sure to go and check out her Facebook page. I'll leave a link to that down below as well. Until next time, have fun. Bye-bye.